Hey, what's up guys? It's Stax here with another opening video. This time we have Freedom Force. It is, of course, the second issue in the Omega level story arc. It expands on the much needed team of, it's much needed support for the Brotherhood team, which is, of course, I believe the first team we saw to be introduced in one of these small 55 card boxes, which is not a great way to introduce teams in my opinion. So we've seen, now it worked for Sinister Six, and they got support recently and they're very good. And then Spider Friends, which was another team to be introduced in a 55 card box, they just got expanded on to great effect. So hopefully Freedom Force will be the boost for Brotherhood that the recent Spider Friends set was for that team. So I'm pretty excited for this one, more so than I was for Freedom or for Futures Past. So Freedom Force, we got Mistique and Avalanche here. Let's take a look at what we got. The Omega level story arc continues, giving you the opportunity to recruit the questionable tactics of Mistique. Mistique's Brotherhood of Mutants embrace the reformed roster of ruffians like Pyro and Avalanche as you attempt to bring law and order to the wide world of mutants by any means necessary. So, expanding on the Brotherhood, which is very exciting because they definitely need the push, and they get some pretty good cards in here. A few really good cards. Alright, as always, I don't go over the rule sheet, but I will hover over it briefly so that if you want to take a look at anything, you can just pause the video and take a look. Okay, so let's get into these cards. Alright, first up we have Avalanche main character. He's a 2/5, 5 health range Brotherhood character. He has Fault Line. Main red, enemy players can't play locations face up on their next turn, which is pretty cool. They can still play a resource, but they'll have to row it. They'll have to hold their locations in their hand. And if they do row it, it's going to trigger this, so it's all your fault. Level up 3. When a resource appears face down on an enemy side, Avalanche gains an XP. So this is a card that's going to force your opponent to have to do some stuff they probably don't want to do, right? So your opponent can choose not to level you. They just don't, if they don't play cards. So you'll play this Fault Line. They can't play location. Now they'll have to row a card. If they row a card, they give you an XP. Or if they choose to basically skip their turn or have to underdrop for the rest of the game, they can choose not to level you. So he is one of those that technically this is in your opponent's hand, in your opponent's control rather, if they're going to let you level up. But if they choose not to level you up, they're significantly hurting their own game plan. So it's an interesting control-y kind of thing that forces bad decisions onto your opponent. So I actually kind of like that. At level 2, he's a 5/8 range, 5 health. He still has Fault Line, and then he has Hate Tectonics. Main green-blue for the rest of the game. When you play a resource, you may KO an enemy resource. Avalanche may only use this power once this game. So that's great, actually. It's like fantastic. So now you're always going to be ahead, and your opponent's never going to be able to really gain resources, I guess. But I mean, there are cards like Dark Phoenix that can gain multiple, so that can kind of even this out. But like for the most part, in your average deck that's playing one resource per turn, this is going to constantly, you're always going to keep them down, which is really cool. It just KOs any resource, so if they have a face-up location, you can hit that. This is really good. It's a once per game ability, but like think of cards like 5 cost Hyperstorm from the Frightful team. So you could do it for this, and then for him, because he copies your superpowers, so then you can KO 2 things a turn. I actually think this guy is great. He's 5 health, which I always poo-poo as, we're kind of at the point in the game when 5 health main characters are tough to play, but like when they're as powerful as this guy, who knows? And we're in the 5 life format currently for Quarantine Cup 2, so could maybe see this guy play. But I actually like this guy a lot. I like him more than I thought I would. We have Mistique, a new Mistique main character on the Brotherhood team. I was really hoping that we would get a Mistique on the Brotherhood team, and we did. So she's a 3, 4, 5, another 5 health, so illegal in the 5 life format that we're in for Quarantine Cup. And she has a palette of possibilities. Build yellow, put a +1/+1 counter on Mistique equal to the number of different team affiliations on supporting characters on your side. So I'm going to play a bunch of people with different team affiliations. I think that also goes into her XP con there. People already know about the cool, crazy interactions you can do with her and Lambert, who has all good team affiliations, which I believe right now is like 23, 24, something like that. So she can get gigantic. Her level up condition is Paint with a Broad Brush, level up 4. When you recruit a character, Mystique gains 1 XP for each of its printed team affiliations it doesn't share with other characters on your side. So again, you're wanting to play people with different team affiliations. I don't love the level up condition elements of that. Makes it kind of tough. But that level 1 with stuff like Lambert can get really crazy. And then her level 2 is where she really kicks into high gear, I think. She's a 6, 8, 5 health. She has Combat Master printed on her. While Mystique is in combat, enemy players can't play Plot Twist. That's insane to me. That's like something I never would have expected to see on a main character as Combat Master, and it's such a strong power. Like, it's worth noting that she loses this +1 counter ability, so you kind of want to use that and get her big and then level up, because once you level up, you can't get big anymore. But Combat Master on a main character is very strong. And then she has the Perfect Metamorph, main, red, choose an enemy character. Mystique loses her names and team affiliations and gains that character's name and team affiliations until she is stunned. If she would be stunned while she has the chosen character's name, randomly either stun her or the chosen character instead. So kind of a weird take on wound dodging. I love the flavor of it though. And Combat Master alone I think makes her worth looking at. So yeah, definitely Combat Master on a main character is really strong. All right, we have Pyro, main character here. To me, until I'm proven otherwise, I think he's the weakest of the 3, but we'll see. So he's a 1/6 range, 5 health Brotherhood character. Pyro to the people, main red. Name a character for the rest of the game, supporting characters with that name, while in your deck, hand, and on your side have burn notice. If this character would strike a defending supporting character, it may burn it instead. So burn is the one where if a character is burned, it stuns at the end of the turn. I don't remember if it's the controller's turn or the person who burned it. I don't remember. Fanning the Flames is level up condition. Level up 3. When enemy character gets stunned by being burned, Pyro gains an XP. So you have to... There aren't very many characters with burn printed on them. So basically you're going to have to use this first power. You have to draw the reds. You have to give a character burn. Then you have to burn something. Then they have to get stunned by being burned. You have to do that 3 times. I think it's kind of a lot of hoops to jump through. Now, it is quite a bit of payoff here. Level 2, he's a 3/10 range, 5 health, Trailblazer, build red. Search your deck for a character who can burn in its game text, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So there are a few people with burn, or you're probably getting something that you named with this Pyro to the People power at level 1. And then his ultimate power here is Sick Burn. Combat, blue, 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 burn a defending main character. Now, burning a main character seems so strong, because like now they're on a clock. Now you don't even have to touch that main character anymore. It's stunning at the end of the turn, every turn. That seems really strong. Again, I think the level up is really tough. I'm really not a fan of the level up, but the payoff is pretty high if you can get the 3 blues. So we'll see on that guy. But I think this guy, we'll have to wait and see. He's okay. But actually, Mystique, I think, is really legit because of Combat Master on a main character. And I think Avalanche is like a really legit, like, put your opponent into a really tough spot kind of a deck. So I think these two are, like, really sweet, and this guy is okay. But that's a pretty good ratio, I think. So, all right, moving into our supporting characters here. We have 1-cost Destiny. She is a 0/5, 1 health with precognition. You may look at the top card of any deck at any time. So you get to look at the top card of your deck, you get to look at the top card of their deck. It also clarified in the document that when your opponent draws cards, you get to check one at a time. So like, say it's your opponent's turn, you get to look at the top card of their deck. They draw for their draw phase, you check the next card, and then you check the next card. So essentially you get to see what they draw, so that's kind of cool. I'm not a huge fan of this card as the new Brotherhood 1-drop, because they really needed a 1-drop that like does something, and I don't really think this card does anything. I mean, knowledge is... People like to say knowledge is power, but I mean, knowledge only gets you so far. She doesn't do anything proactive for you. But there is another 1-drop in this box that's another quote-unquote 1-drop in this box that I think is better. But she's okay. And you know, Brotherhood needs their 1-drops, especially for people like Magneto or Cyclops. So it is important. Oh, here's a big highlight card from the set. Is 2-cost Lorelai. She's a 3/3, 1 health Brotherhood character, and she has Hypnotic Singing. When Lorelai enters combat, you may give an enemy character in the combat -2 attack, -1/-1, or -2 defense this combat. The versatility of this card is insane. This card, don't discount this card. This card is very, very strong. She kind of gives me match kind of vibes. I think she's another solid 2-drop to join the ranks of, you know, the great aggressive 2-drops that we have now, like Primeval Hunter. She automatically stuns Primeval Hunter. Match, she automatically stuns Match. Very good card. She lines up well with those guys. So in aggro decks, I think you'll continue to see Match and Primeval Hunter, but I think you're going to start to see Lorelai popping up in those slots as well, because I think that card is like actually super, super strong. Although, here we go, because this is like the best card in the set. I don't even have to look at the rest of these. I'm telling you right now, this is the best card in the set. It also has the worst artwork, but it's the best card. I have 3-cost Blindspot. She's a 4/5, 1 health Brotherhood character. She has Memory Thief. Main yellow, obligatory Jessica Jones reference. Main yellow, choose an enemy supporting character. Blindspot could melee attack. Choose one. That character's base attack, defense, or health become 1 this turn. I really want to focus in on the health one. They're all good, but oh my god, this card is so good for putting things down to 1 health. Let's say you have a Galactus and they have a Galactus, and you're having like a little Galactus showdown, as is wont to happen these days. You can take your opponent's 7 health Galactus and make it a 1 health Galactus, and now your Galactus can kill their Galactus. Or Silver Surfer, who has 5 wounds, or something like that. This card is insane. The versatility of this card is amazing. Be ready to see Blind Spot in a lot of stuff, I think. I'm blown away by how good this card is. I think it's incredible. Moving on, we have 3-cost Vanisher, moving from what I think is the best card in the set to a card that I think sucks. 3-cost Vanisher, 2/7, range, 1 health. Vanish. Any turn combat red, cancel the combat. You may move Vanisher to another row on your side. He doesn't have flight, so I think it's awful. This reminds me of there's one of the cards in the Fantastic expansion, the Herald expansion. I think it was in the Herald expansion. Maybe it was in the base. I don't remember. That canceled combats or something. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of that card. I sound like an idiot because I can't think of the card's name or exactly what it does, so this comparison is pointless. But this is another one of those cards that I don't think does anything. He's got high defense, but he doesn't like fly or anything, so he's not really an effective blocker or anything. I don't really think he does anything. Let's see what else here. We have 4-cost Astra. This is the other 1-drop, quote-unquote, that I was talking about. So she is a 4-cost, 5/2, range, 1 health, but she has the first recruit. You pay 3 less to recruit Astra if you haven't recruited any supporting characters this game. So if you draw her early, she can be your 1-drop, which is really, really good. For things like, I mean, just in general, but for things like Magneto that really want their 1-drops, and this is a really strong 5/2 range 1-drop, really good. And then she has cloning technology. Main, yellow-red, clone an enemy supporting character. Another card that doesn't tell you what it does. You guys know how sick I am of that. That's going to be a rant video. Let's see what clone does exactly. Okay, Astra. To recreate a clone, put a token copy of the character onto your side. The copy has all the printed characteristics, name, team, cost, attack, defense, health, powers of that character, but nothing else. It appears face up and ready and does not appear with any counters or status effects like burn. Uniqueness does apply to the token. So you get to just copy one of your opponent's guys. This card's really good. It's good if you draw it early, so it can be your 1-drop, but it also gets more valuable later on in the game because she can copy high drops. So this card is just like an all-around good card. I think she's really good. Here's a card I was kind of down on in the spoiler article, but apparently people think this card's great. So let's read it again and see what we think. So we have 4-cost Black Tom Cassidy, 3/3 range, 2 health, Plant Growth. When a location with a blue or green symbol appears on your side, put 3 +1/+1 counters on Black Tom. Now that location has to appear on your side, so you can't really do that the turn this happens, or the turn this guy comes out, unless you have some kind of effect to bring a location into play. You're going to have to wait a turn maybe. So Plant Form, any turn combat, blue or green, Black Tom, double Black Tom's current attack or defense is combat. He can use his power any number of times per turn. So the any number of times is good. So like you want to bring him out, put 3 +1 counters on him, and then you can double his current attack and defense. So he'll go from a 6 to a 12, or like if you do like a Might Makes Right on him, he can get even bigger. That card seems okay. I kind of think like even things like just Gargoyle are better. Like he kind of does the same thing, right? He's kind of achieving the same goal. This guy has 2 health though, but you have to put him out there and wait a turn, sort of. I mean, well, you could Might Makes Right in the turn you play him. That seems good. Maybe since I'm the Might Makes Right guy, maybe I will experiment with some Black Tom Cassidy Might Makes Right stuff. I don't think he's a bad card by any stretch, but I think there are other cards that kind of do his job. We have 5-cost Rogue. She is a 4/7, 1 health, permanent power absorption. When Rogue KOs an enemy sporting character and survives, she adds its printed attack, defense, health, and keyword superpowers to her own until she leaves play. Then she loses this power. So I think this card's really strong. Like, this card has a high ceiling, because if you hit something really good with this, then you're golden. But she has 1 health. She has to survive the attack, and she's kind of low statted. She can't really fight up, as Burt would say. So you kind of have to work for this in order to get it off. I think there's better 5-drops. I don't think this is a bad card by any stretch. But you're going to have to work for it. But the reward for this is, like, potentially really high. We have Post. Post is an 8/8 range, 1 health character, 6 cost, techno-organic virus. When Post appears, if Cable is on your side, put a vitality counter on each of them. So I don't really know why we're trying to push Cable. I think if you want to push Cable, all you need to do is print some X-Men equipment. But if you do want to play Cable main character, play for this guy, because it's 4 extra wounds, it's 4 heals. I think in practical terms, I think this is just -4 slots in this box, because I don't think anybody's going to try to play Cable. But if you are, I mean, why would you not play 4 heals? That card seems great in a Cable deck. But until we get X-Men equipment, I'm not playing Cable. So we have a 7-cost Scarlet Witch. This card's really cool, actually. 7 cost, 6/10 range, 1 health, chaos magic, main, blue or green. Put -1 counters on a random face-up enemy character equal to its cost or level. Scarlet Witch may use his power any number of times per turn. So again, I think the key thing is any number of times per turn, especially because it's random. I think you need to have that any number of times per turn on there. I don't know how she stacks up against other 7-drops. She's understated on the attack the attack part of that. But again, if you have multiple greens or blues and you can just kind of blast their whole board full of counters, like, that seems pretty insane. So depending on your setup, she might actually be, like, really strong. This is a card I'm pretty down on. 8 cost, Alpha, 11/11, Flight, 2 health, the Ultimate Mutant. At the start of your main phase, Alpha randomly gains 2 of the following powers he doesn't have until he leaves play. Dodge, Ferocious, Genius, Lethal, Regeneration, Tough. All good words, but I don't think he really lines up with other 8-drops. You know, Thanos, Silver Surfer, Gilgamesh, Sentry. I think you'll see him. I think I'm the only person who, like, champions draft as a format. Draft and versus is, like, the best way to play the game. So you definitely see him in draft stuff. And then if somebody is crazy enough to play mono Brotherhood, then you could see this guy show up. But other than that, I think he's just okay. A really cool one-of-a-kind card here. We have one-of-a-kind Helmet of Immunity, 2 costs. He has iconic headgear. You pay 2 less to equip this to Juggernaut, Magneto, or Onslaught. Very cool. And then specific defense. When you equip this, choose a power symbol. So one of the colors, red, green, yellow, blue, earth, space. Choose a power symbol. Enemy players can't use powers of that type. So it's like it's nullifier but different, right? I was going to say better, but it's different. It's more targeted in some ways, less targeted in others. It's so good. I'm really excited to see this card go in decks. I think you'll see, like, control decks starting to pop up with, like, Yellow's Wakanda's Nullifier and this as like a control engine. I think you'll start to see stuff like that. Card's great. Love to see the helmet. I hope we see more like specific equipments like this with like iconic things. You know, Cap's shield, Thor's hammer, stuff like that. Because the card's great. Love it. Love the flavor of it. Really cool. This card's not good, I don't think. I love the artwork on this card, though. Except Wolverine's head gets cut off. Poor guy. We have Boiling Point plot twist. Any turn combat, if the total attack of enemy attackers in the combat is exactly equal to the defense of the defender on your side, stun and attacker. I think it's pretty bad. It's way too specific. It's way too situational. You don't want to be playing this. I said in the spoiler video a couple times, like, you're just going to be holding this card in your hand and you're going to be thinking, oh, okay, eventually I'm going to be able to play this Boiling Point. It's going to be really sweet. And then, like, someone's going to attack and the math doesn't exactly line up. You're like, oh, just wait till I can play this Boiling Point. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to stun your guy once the math lines up, and you're just going to be holding this for, like, the whole game. So I think it's way too specific to be any good, so not a fan. This plot twist is really cool, though, and has the best artwork in the set. So we have the Brotherhood plot twist. It's Brotherhood team affiliated, obviously, and it's main ready exactly 2 exhausted face-up characters on your side who share a team affiliation. So it's a more situational but stronger X factor, because you have to choose exactly 2. They have to be the same team affiliation, but you get to ready 2 guys. So this card is actually sweet, I think. I think you'll see it in specific strategies. Maybe if you do happen to make like an X-Men Brotherhood hybrid or Wolverine deck, that would be sweet in that. I think Juggernaut, in certain variants of Juggernaut, you might want to play this. Again, it's really specific because they have to be the same team affiliation. You have to choose exactly 2, or you can't do it. But I think you will see this card see play in specific like kind of aggressive strategies. The most aggressive Brotherhood main character is Juggernaut, and I think in certain variations of that deck you'll want to see this. So I actually like this set quite a bit. There are, I think, some cards in here that are kind of underwhelming, but the flavor is always good, obviously, right, guys? I think it's definitely better than Futures Past. So let's see. I like Brotherhood a lot. I think this card is really underwhelming, Boiling Point. I like the helmet. I think Alpha gets outclassed by most other 8-drops. I think Scarlet Witch is good. I think Post is kind of pointless and only good in Cable deck. I think Rogue is... We'll put Rogue in the middle because I think she's kind of... She has a high ceiling, but you're going to have to work for it, but I think there are cool things you can do with that. It's also worth noting that now Rogue main character has another power-up, which is really important. Black Tom Cassidy is good. Astra is great. Vanisher, I think, is garbage. Blindspot is great. Lorelai is great. Destiny is okay. Avalanche, I think, is great. Mistique, I think, is great. Pyro, I think, is okay. So, definitely a set worth buying, in my opinion. I like it a lot. And Brotherhood gets a much needed push out of this box, so that's great. And it just kind of gets me even more excited for the Omegas, which, the next set's the Omegas. If you haven't checked out those Omega spoilers yet, I highly recommend it, because that set is going to be, oh man, I'm really excited for it. Those cards look so sweet. And I cannot wait to get into more Omega spoilers. Anyways, thanks for watching, you guys. Let me know what cards in the set that you're most excited to play with in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.